Hey everybody. So, I just got done reading an article on the Drudge Report about everybody's favorite pajama wearing, funny hat wearing, pedo defender, the Pope. Um, I know some people would call him a man of God, but what does that even mean? Most of these people who have religion don't even know who and what God is. They certainly don't have a relationship with him. You know, I can stare at a poster of Jennifer Lawrence all day long and watch her movies and, have like, I don't know. Jennifer Lawrence memorabilia, all this other stuff around doesn't mean that I have a relationship with her. Um, all those people who, they watch TV shows and everything and they want to believe that they have a relationship with what they see or what they're promoting, and they don't. They they have no idea who or what um, the being or the person is that they're so obsessed with. Now, it's interesting to me because it's like, even when I was a little kid, I knew that I was more ethical than the Old Testament God. And that's one of the reasons why I got a religious studies degree, because I wanted to know, who is this being? Am I not understanding the Bible? Am I not understanding all of this stuff? There are some redeeming things in the Bible. There's some redeeming things in the Torah. There's nothing redeeming in the Quran. The Quran is basically, it's like somebody took a dump on a couple of pages and put it together in a book. That's really what it is. Crack it open, smell the aroma of feces and vomit. That's reality. Um, and it's interesting because it's like you have the first tradition, Judaism, which tries to conquer the world through intellect to a certain tradition. That failed. So then the Abrahamic deity, Yahweh, Yah for short, created Christianity. That was supposed to make you feel ashamed and guilty, and you were supposed to follow because of your guilt. That didn't work. So then he tried number three. He's getting desperate at this point. Brings about Islam, which says, violently kill your enemies, violently kill disbelievers, do all these horrible things. So you've got these three religions, these three bastard children of Yah, doing everything they can to destroy the world. And they're fighting amongst each other, and then they're also fighting the world, and it's like, so the Pope had talked about in the article on the Drudge Report. He was like, people should have faith during the wars and tribulations, and faith in what? There's no. I mean, honestly, I'd have more faith in, people praying to a poster of Superman, and Superman appearing and solving problems than a belief in some, you know, ancient deity. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And you can make the argument that, it's supposed to be mythology, it's supposed to inspire people. Most people are taking it literally. If you have low intelligence, if you know, if you're unable to really see much beyond um, what's in front of your face, you're not going to be able to sit there and say, oh, well, this over here is metaphor, and this is allegory, and this is whatever. You're not gonna. It's not gonna happen. It's just not. Um, this is like, and I am going somewhere with this. So now, when I was in prison, I studied the Zohar, and I studied the Kabbalah. I read parts of the Talmud. Really started to get into the mystical aspects of it. And I mean, there are some very redeeming things in the mystical traditions, but the mystical traditions they're like mirrors. They're a reflection of what the person is. You know, those who, Aleister Crowley, I think it was, once said, you know, those who see muck are muck. You know, those who see beauty are beauty. And, you know, at the same time, I mean, it's the philosophical idea of, okay, what's valuable, what's virtuous, what's ethical. And in the Old Testament deity, I can see nothing ethical, nothing virtuous. If anything, it's a belligerent puff of smoke that needs to be, you know, sucked up into a vacuum cleaner and disposed of. You know, throw it into the sun. Throw it into the sun so it, you know, will bother humanity no more. Now, if you've ever, you know, read Genesis, you know, the story about Adam and Eve, you know, the story about the serpent. Some people think, well, the serpent was Lucifer. The serpent is not Lucifer. The serpent is a very different entity. The serpent is also not Satan. Satan is simply a word meaning adversary. So anybody can be a Satan, you know. My government considers me a Satan because I committed a felony. I consider, you know, Hillary Clinton a Satan because she wanted, you know, to start a proxy war with Russia and Iran within days of getting into office. You know, so it means adversary. It doesn't mean anything else. It's not a being. It's a title, like a prosecutor or a doctor. Yeah. No, the word Lucifer, that is an entity. That is an entity. And the problem is, you know, people think that it's from the Old Testament, where it calls like the king of Babylon Lucifer, and basically Lucifer means the shining one. You know, it means bringer of dawn, and there's other words that go along with it. Lucifer, the Greek myth of Phaeton. Now Phaeton, Phaeton, from the word that we get the word photon, means shining one. And you know, in Jewish tradition does talk about certain things like Lucifer, but they talk about it in their pseudepigrapha, which is which includes like the second Enoch and the life of Adam and Eve, which we don't have that in the Bible. It amazes me how ignorant people are of their own beliefs and what their own beliefs lead to. So basically, in ancient Canaanite mythology, the morning star is pictured as the god Atar, who's attempting to occupy the throne of Baal. Finding he is unable to do so, descends and rules the underworld. Now, the original myth may have been about a lesser god, Hellel, trying to dethrone the Canaanite high god El, who lived on a mountain to the north. The reconstruction of the myth told of a mighty warrior called Hel-El, whose ambition it was to ascend higher than all the other stellar divinities, but who had to descend to the depths. It is thus portrayed as a battle, the process by which the bright morning star fails to reach the highest point in the sky before being faded out by the rising sun. You know, and I'm getting this from Wikipedia. The Latin word Lucifer meaning light bringing. Second of the meanings attached to the word when used correspond to the image of the Greek mythology of Eos, the goddess of dawn, giving birth to the morning star Phosphorus. I mean, I'm interested in this, and I will always be interested in it. Now, in 2nd Enoch, it does 29:3. It says here, Satan now was hurled from the height together with his angels. Let's see, Jewish theology concentrated on. The name used in 2nd Enoch, Satanael, is not directly related to the Isaiah 14 text, and the surrounding imagery of the fire suggests Ezekiel 28:17. In the Sibylline oracles, Greek, Battle of the Constellations, line 517, Lucifer fought mounted on the back of Leo. Or the entirely rewritten Christian version of the Greek Apocalypse of Ezra. I didn't even know that existed. Wow, I'm learning. I'm using Google to learn instead of watching porn and cat videos. I'll have to look at that later. But you know, I have to wonder that, you know, maybe Lucifer is the good guy. Maybe Lucifer is the good guy. Because if you look at Luciferian virtues, you have courage, you have self-discipline, you have personal responsibility, you have the willingness to work, you have, you have intellect, you have an obedience to the way things work, to the way things are, and acceptance. And yeah, you can change the way things are, but you have to first accept them before you can change them. And I think a lot of why the Abrahamic traditions are so violent and hostile is they can't accept the way things are, and they refuse to. They refuse to. Let's see, Ezra is first described as visiting heaven, where he raises the question of theodicy. He asks God why humans were given the ability to sin, although God argues that humans are to blame if they do sin due to their having free will. In the text, Ezra responds ultimately that the fall of man must be up to God, particularly since God created both Eve and the serpent in the forbidden tree. Ezra goes on to accuse God of having an appalling sense of justice, to which God does not respond, even when Ezra petitions on behalf of sinners. Finally, when Ezra protests that no one is without sin and hence none will escape such torture, God reveals he endured the cross in order to save mankind, forgive those who believe and vanquish death. But here's the problem, though, right? It's like, convince somebody that you've done something for them to which they owe you, right? Convince them that they're a sinner, and then show them a horrific murder, a torture, right? Some guy strung up on a cross, bloody and tortured and etc. And then tell the little kid, you did this, and you owe Jesus, you owe him. It's bullshit. It's all of it is bullshit. You know, the state doesn't even believe this shit. You go into a courtroom and you say, well, Your Honor, Jesus died for my sins, so, I could be forgiven for my crimes, the judge knows it's bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. Why don't we call it out? Why aren't we open about it? You know, it's interesting because, well, when I was in prison, I did have quite a few dreams, and I know this video is getting long, so I'll tell you I'll tell you a little bit about a couple of those dreams in a later video. Still kind of working up the courage to do it, because I know once I reveal what I saw, once I reveal to you what I saw, I can never go back to being who I used to be. Because what I saw, you know, people think we've been at war with this or that country for a while. Humanity has been at war spiritually with something far, far more dangerous than any terrorist or any nuclear bomb or anything else. Humanity has been fighting a predator since the beginning, and right now that's all I'm gonna go into, because I need to get some stuff done today. I will definitely share it later in a video. Have a great day, everybody.